Hi, Suzi.
Hello, it is.
It's so nice to have you. I recently met you in person in Ghost Ranch. It was wonderful. It's always wonderful to meet in person. There's like,
It is.
yeah.
It is. It is. It's almost like I was thinking sometimes with some people, maybe it's people I know better, that when I see them in person after a long time of interacting via Zoom, it's almost like another person in a way.
I wanted to talk to you today about unexpected death. Personally and not personally. And it's funny, we were just talking before the recording. Can it really be unexpected? It's almost like the only thing we know for certain that will happen. But so I have many questions around it. I lost recently a very good friend, a local Durango woman, very little years above me, meaning kind of my age. And it brought them many feelings and also many questions. How to deal with this? What can you prepare? This feeling, I feel like two main things. One is, wait, there's so many things I wanted to learn from her. How could she leave so quickly? And in the same time, my God, life is so short. I need to be very precise in what I'm doing. So that's the topic of today. I will introduce us if somebody doesn't know us yet. I'm
we're inescapable, but yes.
I'm Iris. I'm a family constellation facilitator, an artist. I'm based in Durango, Colorado, and I was born and raised in Israel. I sit with you, Suzi, for the 100th time, talking about important topics, and I love your wisdom. You're, I guess, international family constellation facilitator.
I'll do this Sunday. I'll do Father, Who Are You for a Bulgarian audience. Okay. So, I get to do Zoom. It can be a beautiful thing, right?
Are you going to have a translator?
Yes, the woman who hosts it translates live. And at first I thought, oh, can't we do, captions or something? But I actually love it when she translates it because it slows me down, first of all. And I love hearing it in a language that I don't understand. Because of course, in a way, I don't know what she's saying, I suppose, but you can hear the vibration of it, so.
Oh, beautiful. I'm excited for the Bulgarians. They're gonna have you. You're a public speaker, and you're doing many things, many gatherings, and also supervision for facilitators, which I really enjoy. So here we are.
I will add, because it's always first in my mind, is writer.
A writer.
That's, and I don't mean, a great and famous author. I mean a person who puts words on paper. And that is my practice. So I see myself as, as a writer. And I think it's relevant to our topic. I'll have to figure out why later, but it feels relevant, maybe because it's legacy beyond life in a way.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. So back to this topic, this woman that died, she's not the only one. I mean, in the last 2 years, I also lost another person around 60, like going into the sea, coming back, and died.
Mm.
And I want us to talk about it. I don't even know how to step into it. First of all, of course, I want to say that you lose a person, you kind of lose a world, because both of these people represented for me words, and I don't know, the one represent for me this connection and this artistic conversation reality, and the other one was a herbalist. She actually lived in nature, collected weeds, like wild flowers, and make food out of them. And for me, it represented a huge world that I miss, that I'm
Mm.
like, how I wish we could all live in that reality. So I'm letting you talk.
No, I'm enjoying, kind of, your I think it's a fluid like life, death is a fluid topic, but we even know less about it. We know so little about life, and we know nothing about death. Um, I think I'll start in a way where I started off camera, which was to say that in terms of family constellation, um, and I feel even funny calling it a topic exactly. Death is not exactly a topic. Death is a condition of humanity, condition of all living things, right? It's one of the two conditions, one of the two main conditions. Um, and for Bert Hellinger, and I think because the work comes out of battle, right? Because the work comes out of war, and the implicit idea that where there is war, there is peace, that he really was, none of the words are quite right, not focused, but he gave attention to where there is life, there is death, and that there is a kind of almost manic preoccupation with life as though we are not going to die. Um, and that uh, actually is painful in a sense because it separates us from others, it separates us from ourselves in a certain way, and it separates us from the ability to be better prepared, right? And I don't think his sense was that we should be preparing to die all the time, um, but more that finding ease allows us to join not only with aspects of our own life, but joins with others who leave before us. Um, so, as a facilitator, when he talked about facilitation, when he talked about constellations, and he talked about non judgment, the kind of core non judgment, or certainly one of them, was not to judge death
Okay.
and to not see it as something terrible. Because if we see it as something terrible, all these other things click in, like he, he was too young. Well, what is not too young, right? We start drawing these lines that separate ourselves from other people. Or I find when somebody dies, the first question is, how old were they? Like if they were 70, well, that's too young. But if they were 71, well, maybe that's okay. Or the other questions like, did they smoke? Or Did they eat well? These are all mechanisms of separation,
Mm.
right? Oh, well, I don't smoke, or I'm not 70, or I don't weigh this, or I don't live here, or I don't like all separations, rather than finding ways to be at ease with death as a part of life and maybe life as a part of death, really that kind of cyclical idea. So it was very important to Bert. And one of the things that he said, which I always thought was, you know, interesting, provocative, interesting, is that all religions are defenses against death.
All religions are defenses against death.
In other words, you will die, it is, but you will go to this other life,
Okay. Okay.
right? And there's a way in just that aspect. So I'm not saying that religion gets boiled down to this, one idea, but I do think it's relevant. And I do think it's a way, again, of separating ourselves from our own conditions. And that is difficult. You said in the beginning how strange it is. It's inevitable. And yet we don't have a way to kind of hold it, right? And I always say, when people die, and I have felt it myself, I'm not surprised, but I'm shocked.
Mm,
I'm
okay.
not surprised, of course, but I am shocked, right? And I think it's a shock for exactly the reason you said. We thought we had more time to learn,
Yeah.
or when it's a parent or a spouse or a close one in that way, we thought we had more time to reconcile. We thought we had more time to say I'm sorry or to hear I'm sorry, right? So all of that and more, but
Yeah. I wanna say something in Hebrew that when somebody dies, we say "Ne'esaf el avotav," and that means he he was gathered with his ancestors, or he's
beautiful.
gathered into his ancestors. So I thought that's interesting phrase.
It's an interesting phrase. It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. Um. So again, it's funny that you said all this question because this woman I'm thinking about, she was living a very healthy life, and 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 yeah, people have the tendency to say, "Oh, she lived such a healthy life. How could it happen to her?" I mean, she got sick, and I'm thinking it's not the point here. The point is how much she was dedicated to her philosophy, how much practical she was in her viewing of the world, like how
Mhm.
beautiful she lived
Mm,
while she
mm.
lived. And I would say it's very hard when you lose like a teacher, um,
Yes.
because there's like this how much more I could have learned. I mean, it's almost everyone, but especially when you look to someone as a teacher and a guide, it's like, oh, wait, am I first in line now? Because my guide moved.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very scary. Um, okay.
But that's I just say two quick things. One is that this woman, um, what you described to me is somebody who, not to be presumptuous, I mean, from her perspective, who knows? But from the outside, what it looks like is somebody who really inhabited the life they had. And I think that many of us don't do that. Or sometimes I say to people, you know, whatever my age, I actually feel quite young.
Mhm.
And it's not because I have, I don't know. It's not for the reasons that magazines talk about. It is because I think it was relatively late that I really started inhabiting the life I had.
Mm.
And that before that, there was a way in which I was actually dissociated from my life. It felt like separate to me, and I was always trying to get to it. Like, when will I get to it?
I know the feeling.
You know
Yeah.
the feeling, and I think many, many people do. And then over time, for 1,000 reasons, I began to kind of align with my own nights and days, and I feel now, not 100%, but I feel now like I inhabit the life I have, and it sounds like she inhabited the life she had.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because in this, at least what I'm looking is many people feel lost or has belief that they're not always living accordingly to them.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
yeah, it brings question. I mean, when I have questions and I'm not really sure what my past is, maybe I'm still inhabiting my past because this is
Mhm.
right now my past. Um, but yeah, there was something very clear about her and very, you came and she was always in her, I, I don't know, maybe inhabiting her place. I'm not sure. Um, so can we prepare? Can we how do we deal with this? I mean, the society is not bringing death along with life so much. So,
No.
what can we do to, you know, prepare in a way? It's always some kind of shock, but maybe we can prepare better.
Yeah, well, so, um, for one thing, you described something, I think, at least this has been my experience, that when I have lost people, and I just said too that I didn't particularly want to speak very personally, just because I don't feel like bringing folks into this conversation. It's sort of about them more than me in a certain way. But I lost a bunch of people all at once, right? And what when I look back, I think, oh, when I think about these people, I think it's not the past that I lost, right? I have the law, I had the past, I have memories, I have tokens of people and things. It's the future that I lost. And that's extremely disorienting,
Right.
right? So it's sad and um, there's a lot of grief and there fear. But the word that I really have is that it's disorienting,
Mm.
right? To have expectation interrupted. And to this day, I know many people experience these things, but to this day, something happens and I think, I'll call, right? And then there's this, oh, no, no, I won't. Or sometimes I'm in a store and I think, that will be perfect for, right? So it is that sense of kind of future that I think we lose, that sense of interrupted expectancy. Okay. So that's here. I don't think that there is a way that we want to prepare ourselves out of feeling that loss. I think that feeling the loss in a way is a marking of importance, right? That I feel the loss. And again, this woman, and I think of birds as well, Bert Hellinger. And I think, well, part of feeling the loss is a valuing of the particular voice that this person had in a gigantic chorus that I could hear. right? There are millions of voices, but I could hear this voice. You could hear her voice. Is it because she's spectacular? Well, maybe, but it's more because there is some sort of natural resonance between you and her. Some sort of natural resonance between me and Bert. Bert taught me a lot, but the first time I heard him, something woke up in me. Because he was so special, yes, he was special, but not because of that, because there was just this, it was like falling in love, right? How people describe falling in love, it's a similar experience. So that sense of being in accord with him, I'm terrible with time. It is, I don't know, 15 years after his death, 20 years, 10 years, I don't know, whatever time after his death. That sense of being in accord, of resonance, of hearing his voice continues. It actually continues. And part of the way it continues is through my attentiveness, right? So when I think of this woman who died more recently for you, there is an attentiveness, an awakening that she offered, not even meaning to, just in her being, that you can use your attentiveness to continue to recognize, right? So there are times when I write a sentence, for instance, or I see something that strikes me in a way that feels almost different from the way it would strike Susie. And I think, oh, right. I think maybe that's Bert's voice and my voice joining as we witness this particular thing, right? So rather than allowing grief to separate me from what I gained by knowing him, I allow grief to kind of continue to uh, keep me in admiration and valuing.
Yeah.
So for me, that has to do with preparation. How can we do that? I'm not sure I did that with Bert Hellinger beforehand. I think um, I know I squandered moments and I was petty and many things, many things. I don't really feel guilty. They're just true. But now I think, I have a person in my life who has many physical ailments and is, um, anyway, I'm just aware of their place and I'm aware of them leaving. They're not in bed. It's not that. It's just, it would be naive of me, childish of me to say, oh no, they'll be around forever. They won't be. And I can feel it. I can feel it. So my preparation for their leaving has nothing to do with the leaving. It has to do with my attentiveness to the now,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
where I might be lazy about calling or reaching out or even just myself valuing, like, oh, I am so glad I know this person, where I might be lazy about that. I am attentive because the farewell is it's a long moment. It's not just that point of now they're dead. I
Yeah.
think it's a long moment. And I think um, we get to value that long moment.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm I'm wondering, what if a person comes to the clinic and he recently lost somebody unexpectedly, expectedly. It's kind of always both.
Right, it's a paradox, yep.
Um, how would you work with him? Because it's still very alive, or
I won't.
you
So
want?
what I would say I won't. So what I and of course I will, alright? So I'm lying to you just a little. It's not a big lie, it's a little lie. Um, First of all, I will always say something like grief is grief. And I will always try to open up grief, um, from the narrow understanding of it. You know, the 5 stages or 7 stages of grief. Maybe it's a helpful something or other, but it drives me a little crazy because I feel like it, ugh, it's another thing I'm not doing well. I can't even fucking grieve well.
Yeah, the
I'm too
guilt.
long in the stage or
Yeah,
so so I want to kind of immediately um loosen and let people know that the idiosyncrasy of their grief is like all of us, right? There is no grieving well or grieving badly. So that's the first thing. So those are probably 3 words. I'm probably just going to drop a couple things and maybe to the group if there's a group. Then, if I set up anything, and I'm very careful about it, you know me, I don't like rituals. I think I just talked a lot about this in our wide vision. But personally, for me, all work comes from the client, not from me.
right,
And so I don't like to look away from the client and then do my thing. you know,
right. Yeah,
like I'm not going to pray with you unless you pray. And then I'm going to try to learn your prayer. Anyway, so I might set up, maybe I have set up when it has felt right. And I'm sorry, it is a feeling, it is a shared experience. I have set up the sense that um, the person in context of the people who came before, right? Just to show the picture of that person having transited the fear and isolated moment of leaving into a kind of arrival.
yeah,
It's not particular. I mean, in a way, of course, it is religious, right? But it is not a merit based agreement. It is an acceptance by the ancestors. And again, it goes back to our work of everybody all the time, no matter what. Right? So we judge abortion, the ancestors don't.
right.
We say, wow, he ate really badly. Maybe death makes sense. The ancestors don't say that. The ancestors say welcome. So sometimes I will set up the image of the welcome.
Yeah, I've seen it.
The welcome.
I find it very helpful. And yeah, like the people who are waiting on the other side. Yeah,
And it's so simple. It's like I don't know in Hebrew it is. I love that. I love the phrase you offered. And then I think, in Christianity, there's rest in peace. And then I have Jewish friends who say, may their memory be a blessing.
mm,
And all of these phrases have in them the sense that the chaos and the noise and the hatred and the competition and all the stuff that we have here does not exist after we're dead. And for me, that's important whether I'm eaten by worms or I'm sitting on a cloud with angels, right? The idea that all of this that we're involved in doesn't exist in the departure, to me, that's a beautiful and important image
Mm. Okay. Okay.
because I feel that out of respect and love, that I must let people go.
Yeah. So interesting. It's a funny assumption that we say, "Oh, when you pass away, it will be all over, and you rest in peace." What do we know? You know, we don't know
We
much.
don't.
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah.
We don't.
Right.
But I think we hope we hope that there is not this grand, crazy redundancy where we where we move right, where we move from this boiling pot of craziness right into another boiling pot of craziness. I think
That's too
that's the
much.
hope.
Yeah.
That's too much.
Absolutely.
And I think for our own peace of mind, we have that sense because I think we really want to not hold on to the dead. We want to release them.
Yeah.
And if my sense is I'm releasing them into something terrible, then I'm going to hold on to them. And I think that's, you know, I don't know if it's not good for the dead, but I know it's not good for us.
For the living. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's it's a funny statement that we almost say life is really hard, that we like, oh, when you die you will be in peace. That means like here it's kind of, but let's go to the force of life that I felt that when you lose somebody, there is a very strong force who's like, wait, if it's so short, maybe it's time to, um, meaning the urgency to live fully or to, yeah, I'm not sure exactly. So I want to talk about this force that maybe all people, maybe some people experience, that it's almost like it's waking up. It's a wake up call of what do you want to do, what's important for you, and other questions. Yeah,
And courage, right? I think it is, when you think about waking up, and I use this phrase waking up because I feel as though there are parts of us that are dormant or very, very dozy, almost
totally.
sedated,
Yeah.
right? And those are the parts that tend to be the parts that are afraid, right? And they kind of belong. They're like the long body or the parts that through the generations have learned that optimism is an unsafe
Mm.
condition. So we kind of sing a lullaby and let them sleep. So when those parts wake up and there comes a kind of impulse to going back to this idea of inhabit our lives, inhabit life. Um, I think that it is a practice to tend to that impulse. Like sometimes I say, we have to find the pulse in the impulse because the impulse is this. But then we have to find the pulse in that impulse so that we can actually let it become more of a practice rather than, something like we wake up and then go back to sleep, wake up and go back to sleep, right? So life force, I think, includes death, first of all, because if facilitation holds the imagery, and not the reality. I use the word imagery because I think it means different things for different people, and that is good and right and true. But if it holds the general imagery that we are here and then we go through some sort of door and we actually end up behind, right? Isn't that a funny image? When you talked about your teachers before, I thought, well, it's an orientation, Edith. You see, this woman stood in front of you and had things to teach you. And now she has left that field and now she stands behind you and she still has things to teach you.
Mm.
Right? So, in that imagery where people who leave here join the ancestry, right? They move to other fields and they become part of our life force.
Okay, I like
When
it.
Bert Hellinger stands in front of me, he is my inspiration, he is my teacher, he is a mentor, but he is not life force.
Mm.
He is not life force. I am not in the cult of Bert Hellinger. He is not life force. He is not my father. He's not my mother. But when he dies, he actually moves behind me and he becomes one strand, one thread, maybe a vibrant thread, but still just one thread of my life force.
I like this image because maybe for other people too, but I had an image of somebody's in front of me and then there's a door because they left, so there's a door, so I cannot. But if they go behind, the door kind of open by itself because. So I appreciate this image. Um, Susie, back to if a client comes in this position, how would you? Let's say we're not doing any family constellation, but we do want to allow him something. I'm not even sure what we want to allow him maybe to be with whatever happens. What thoughts do you have around this?
So I had two thoughts actually, and it's funny. I did work with somebody at Ghost Ranch. Isn't that a funny title? Maybe that's why you're thinking about death. Because of the ranch of ghosts, right? which I
Never occurred
was
to me, but now it will.
and I almost always call Ghost Ranch first by mistake. I almost call it Graceland, right?
Graceland.
And I think Graceland and Ghost Ranch, they have a kind of similar aspect to them having to do with death, right? Um, anyway, so, one of the
Susie,
things.
I just want to pause. What is Graceland? I'm sorry, I feel like
Oh, no, don't
ignorance.
worry about it. Great. It's nothing to, to worry about. I've never been there. But Graceland is the place that Elvis Presley bought
Okay.
and built, and it is now I guess, a museum to Elvis Presley,
Okay.
so that when he died, he became a part of our general life force, right? Um, anyway, I think I like the word grace a lot. And, I use it to kind of substitute for all the things I don't know. you know?
Yeah.
So ghost sounds very specific, grace sounds a little bit more general. But anyway, working with somebody, working with many people, first of all, who talked about folks who had died a long time ago, but when they spoke of them, it was as though, because it is, like it was yesterday. Right? My mother died when I was 11. My father died when I was 2. My husband died 20 years ago. My sister died, whatever. Though that time collapses, time collapses, and we tend not to inhabit that time between the loss and the present. Right? So one of the things that I think for your client, this man who comes to the clinic, um, who I'm going to call Josh. When Joshua comes to the clinic, there is something about first of all, allowing him to have his full experience without my interruption,
Hmm. Okay.
right? I will. I will tell you it's not too much for me. I will impart that idea, not that I'm going to speak it, but I'm going to show you that. so that your anger, your grief, your fear, your 2-year-old, your right? I'm gonna sit with that and allow there to be space for all of it. This is what I can offer. If I try to fix, I am telling you I can't cope.
Mm. Yeah.
Right? So I'm going to allow for that. I might invite, in very practical terms, I might invite him to tell me about the person,
Mm.
right? Not about their death, although it can include their death, but actually to let me, right? Let me feel the person. And you already did it a little bit, Iris, with the woman in the field, who was always right. You began to kind of let me understand something about somebody who I have never met but get to meet right now. So that would be an invitation, perhaps, to him. Um, just one other quick thing, and again, in accord with the person and also simple. Like, I don't want anything. I'm just actually telling me there is space here for us. Um, I might actually invite him to tell this person not only about what they'll miss and all of that, that's all beautiful, but also where they will go. Right. So, you've heard me say this in constellations rather than staying back forever with people who no longer continue in a way we understand. I will show you the world. Let me show you the world and begin to just create a little bit of spark there. I don't know if it will grow or not, but I'm going to just point out a little bit of spark.
Susie, just to be clear, the client says it to the person who
Yep.
died.
Yep.
I will show
Yep.
you the world. Like,
Yes,
yeah.
I will show you. Let me show you the world.
Mm.
Right? It's a little bit like in the Olympics, there's a race. I don't even know what it's called. I can't remember what it's called. Oh, a relay race. It's a relay race, right? Where the person passes the baton, they run, and then
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
pass the
yeah.
baton to you, and you keep going. Like, whoa, what a beautiful thing. You keep going. Right? So just to touch a little bit of that, right? And for me, that keeping going, when we talk about honoring the person, yes, we can plant trees and we can light candles and we can do all of that stuff. But what is that symbolic of? That's symbolic of it has been a gift to know you.
Right.
I will keep going.
Mm.
That's what that is symbolic of.
Okay. So let me show you the world. It means I'm going to keep going.
I'm
And I will
going to
carry
keep
you,
going.
but I'm
Yes,
going to, yeah,
yes,
I'm going to
yes.
continue. That's very beautiful. Um, Susie, we are coming to the end. Maybe I will
I hate
share.
I hate that part.
I
Yeah.
hate the end. No, no. I do want to share that this woman taught me. We were walking a lot of nature walks and collecting plants and eating what is edible and avoiding what is not. But she always taught me when you see a wild flower or a wild plant, first of all, you say thank you before you collect, like before you take it. And then you almost like by eating it, asking this plant to teach you about the world. Because
Mhm.
because this plant, how did he know to come out after the snow? How does he know when to stop, you know, bloom and then not bloom? So I thought it's beautiful. And
I think it's beautiful too.
yeah. Um, I'm just looking if there's something I didn't
Well,
mention.
as you look, I will interrupt you to say it is, for people who are listening. So it has had a relationship with this woman, and this woman has left in this, people, what do people say, this plane or whatever, has joined the ancestry and become an aspect of Idis's life force. And one way we know that is that Idis just shared a story that she learned in the company, in the direct company of this woman. And now she learns it again as she tells all of us,
Mm.
right?
Right. Yeah. Thank you, Susie. Um, I do want to ask you one more question, and I hope yeah. What's the difference when somebody comes with, I lost my mom at 11 and I still live it like it was yesterday, but I'm 40, versus I'm 40 and I just lost my mother? So I
No,
guess,
it's beautiful. Go ahead.
no, that's it.
Well,
Your
I
story.
think it's the same. First of all, it's the same thing. So, in other words, for that 40-year-old, that there isn't all that time in between. We feel it, we see it, but for that person, there isn't. Okay, so on a practical level, there is an interrupted movement there where the person was not allowed, generally by other adults. It's not generally something that we wake up and say, "Hey, I'm not gonna move on from this," right? It is that inadvertently, we were not supported in holding that sentence of, "I will keep going. Mom, you gave me everything. You gave me life. You gave me breath. You gave me everything. And I will keep going." Right? So that idea of I will show you the world was not there for that person for some reason. So it's an interrupted movement, meaning time collapses, and there's a kind of strenuousness that comes in, right? And that little one, that 11-year-old, is left there, and the 40-year-old sits with the 11-year-old, right? So when we're working with the person who has just lost somebody, what we're paying attention to, and why I really emphasize the spaciousness, is we don't want to interrupt their movement through our interventions, right? So often the 11-year-old is told things like, well, now you're the man of the family. Or they're actually lied to and said, your mom's asleep now. Don't worry about her. Or we replace the mom with a new mom, and now you have to call her mom. And right, one way or another, we intervene because we can't take the child's grief. We can't tolerate it, and we interrupt the movement. We interrupt the movement. So we want to be careful with the person who has just lost somebody, not to interrupt the movement. And with the person who lost somebody long ago and still lives inside that moment, we want to extend time.
Okay.
We want to extend time and let the places between be filled in.
Okay. Okay. I think it's good to hear that. Yeah, because I'm thinking about the man who lost his mother. He has more parts because he lived longer. And the one who just lost, he still didn't gather more parts.
So he needs space. He
Yeah,
needs
yeah.
space.
Okay, that's very helpful. I appreciate it. And overall, I appreciate this conversation. Um, so thank you, Susie. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Um,
It is,
and I'm looking
as
forward,
always.
as always, I'm looking forward to our next, you know.
I don't know if listeners know that it is surprises me with a theme every time we speak. So I don't know what we're ever going to talk about trampolines or death or.
I find it very, very inspiring. And for me, it's like I take it for granted because it's such a routine that I meet with you and I almost forget that you
Don't know.
don't know the topic, and I appreciate it a lot, and it's inspire me to come more open and not know. I mean, I know, but allow myself not to know many things because it feels like there's trust. Um,
Mhm.
and I will say that the challenge is sometimes when you speak, you have everything figured out in your mind, but you have to understand that the other person has another perception of everything, and it's a gentle meeting. So maybe to explain myself better or to, yeah. So, yeah.
It is a constellation, right? What we do, in my view, is actually we both enter a constellation,
Okay.
right? And there's a way that we are accompanying one another. And sometimes you're in the lead and sometimes I'm in the lead. And that's how we move. That's
Mm.
how we move. So the space to me is very similar because I know, and I know that I am speaking to Iris, but I also am feeling, the threads and the information and the experience of all those people behind you who come through you.
Hmm. Interesting. I can, yeah, continue, but I will close
Till next time.
because of time. And Susie, you can be found in SuziTucker.com, and you're doing the cohorts, which I love and I recommend, and many, many other things, and the Bulgarian gathering soon. Um, so,
I'll say one thing. May I add one
yes,
thing?
yes,
So
yes.
I don't usually do like, and I'm doing, but I'm going to do it this time just because in August I start a new 16-month art in practice of constellation.
Okay.
And it's such uh, spacious and intense simultaneously course that I started years ago. And every year I say I'm not going to do it again because it feels like too much. But then I do it and I love it. And I love traveling with this group of people. So check it out. That's all.
Beautiful. So when in August, this space is also for that, so people
Yep.
know.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Uh,
Well, they'll have to check. I can tell you it's August, but I
it's
can't tell you
August.
exactly when.
Wonderful. It's 16 months. Would you call it training, or how would you?
I don't use the word training. I'd say it's a 16-month long course. It's a deep dive into the philosophy and practice of constellation, and it's for folks who are just really interested in constellation in terms of their own life, and for folks who want to facilitate and everyone in between. We kind of learn, I mean, the mix of people is an essential part of the class. The fact that the people come with different um, lenses is actually part of the beauty of the tapestry of the class.
And I think people who done it sometimes do it again because it's
Yes, they
so,
do.
yeah,
They do.
wonderful.
They do.
Thank you, Susie.
You're welcome. Thank you,
Thank you.
Edith. Thank
Okay.
you.